Hello, friends and fellow bibliophiles. Welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. Today, I am sharing books that I picked up over the summer from the Friends of the Library store, plus books that I recently received from Scholastic, as well as the Poison Pen bookstore. Let me start off by showing you the book that I got from the Poison Pen bookstore, which is located in, I think, Scottsdale, Arizona. And it is the most recent Agent Pendergast book in the Pendergast series, written by Preston and Child, and that is called Angel of Vengeance. This, I believe, is the 22nd book in the series. I am so far behind in the series. I think I made it to maybe number 9, and it has been quite a few years since I have read one. So guess what? I'm going to have to start back with the very first book, which is called Relic. This is signed, but for some reason it's only signed by Douglas Preston. Maybe Mr. Child couldn't get together with them and do the signing. I don't know. And they might have sent something in the email about it. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Not all of my books are signed by the author. But they also included some trading cards inside the book. And this book says, a desperate bargain is broken, a clever trap is set, and a vengeful angel will not be deterred. So yeah, I need to get back to the series. Maybe that could be one of my goals for 2025. I know I would not read the entire series in 2025, but maybe I could at least start. But yeah, I like their writing. I've read books that they've written separately as well as books that they've written together. And like I said, I am a big fan of Agent Pendergast. I have 8 books from Scholastic to show you, and the first one is a picture book, and it is called Millie Floor's Poison Garden by Christy Mandan. Look how cute this is. I fell in love with it when I saw it at the book fair at the beginning of September. I didn't pick it up then, but I kept thinking about it, and when it was offered in the flyer for October, I went ahead and grabbed it. So let me tell you a little bit about it. Everything in Garden Glen was exactly the same. That is, until Millie Floor LaFay came to town. With a curious collection of peculiar plants, Millie Floor creates her unusual garden. She thinks it's marvelous. The townspeople call it poison. Can Millie Floor find kindred spirits who appreciate everything her garden has to offer? This storybook is to remind us to celebrate what makes us wonderfully weird. I like weird things, and I think it's going to be a good time. I love the illustrations. Next up is Killer Harvest by Christopher Crovatin. I don't know anything about this author, but I loved the cover. Go inside this maze and you may never be seen again. I'm saving this one for the spooky season next year. Next up is Zombie Season, Dead in the Water by Justin Weinberger. This is the second in the Zombie Season series. I did not get to the first Zombie Season book in May for Zombie-thon. I ran out of time. So I can't really tell you anything about this one since it is the sequel. But I also got a copy of the first one that I'm going to give away during Zombie-thon this year. I'll probably get a copy of this as well because I did have some winners of this book for our last event. And then I got a free book called The Chocolate Touch by Patrick Skeen Catlin, another new author to me. Chocolate, chocolate everywhere. John Midas loves chocolate. He loves it so much that he'll eat it any hour of any day. He doesn't care if it ruins his appetite. He thinks chocolate is better than any other food. But one day, after wandering into a candy store and buying a piece of their best chocolate, John finds out that there might just be such a thing as too much chocolate. Anyway, I figured I would try it. It was a free book that they sent me, so why not? Another free book that they sent me is called Near and Dear by Sylvia Liu. Look how pretty that cover is. Sienna Chen's world is chaotic. Sienna's already overwhelmed by helping her parents run their bed and breakfast and taking care of her pet sheepadoodle, Jules. But then Jules discovers an orphaned and injured fawn. Sienna hides the fawn and names her Persimmon. It's not long before both Persimmon and the B&B are in danger. It sounds like it's going to be a cute little story. And then, believe it or not, I have read several Kate DiCamillo books, but I have never read her first book, which is Because of Winn-Dixie. Apparently, this one has been updated. I believe this is a 20th anniversary of Because of Winn-Dixie. So I'm interested in seeing what the updates are. I know there's an introduction and there's also information in the back by the author as to why she updated some of the information in the book. And then last but not least, y'all know I like K.R. Alexander. He is a middle grade horror writer, and this is called Dead Girl's Diary. Like the cover. Love the colors actually in this, in the cover. Once you read it, it will haunt you forever. Kara has always felt a ghostly presence in her life. Now that she's 12, her visions are becoming more frequent, more frightening. And when a mysterious diary shows up on her doorstep, she knows it holds the key to discovering the identity of the girl who haunts her. After reading the pages of the diary, Kara suspects this girl didn't just die, she was killed. To discover the truth, she must visit the town where the ghost girl met her end. But if Kara isn't careful, she might meet her end there too. This one sounds spooky good. Another one for the spooky season. Are you ready to see what I got from the Friends of the Library store? I absolutely adore the Friends of the Library store. Every time I go, it's like an adventure. I never know what I'm going to find, and sometimes I bring home some real gems. This time around, between June and July, I picked up 35 books for 20 bucks. That's right, 20 bucks. That's an amazing price, especially when 31 of the 35 books are hardcover books. I'm very, very excited to share these with you. And I'm starting with the picture books, and the first one is Diary of a Worm. This is by Doreen Cronin, illustrated by Harry Bliss. Absolutely love Doreen Cronin. One of my favorite books by her is Click Clack Moo, Cows That Type. Very excited about finding this one. It is a hardcover, perfect condition, and I got it for 25 cents. It normally retails at $15.99. You cannot beat that. 25 cents. Next up is Bumble Artie by Maurice Sendak. The story of a pig who has his first ever birthday party when he turns 9. Artie's so cute. The next book happens to be a 2007 Caldecott Award winner, and it is also a wordless picture book, and it is called Flotsam by David Wisner. Something that floats. That's what flotsam is, something that floats. If it floats in the ocean, it may wash up on the beach where someone may find it and be astonished and share the discovery with someone else as David Wisner shares it with you. Now, the next two books are by a favorite author of mine. When I took my library science class for my teaching certificate, I did a lot of research on Patricia Polacco and the books that she had written at that time. And so I found two books by Patricia Polacco, and the first one is called Someone from Mr. Sussman. She has a very unique art style, and this happens to be about a little bit of matchmaking, so it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. She usually has a lot of humor in her stories. Now, the next one by Patricia Polacco is a little more serious, and it has to do with social issues. This one is called Bullying, and it is about a young girl named Lila. She makes a friend named Jamie on the first day of school, and they're doing really great as friends. Well, then Lila becomes a cheerleader, and she makes some cheerleading friends, but the cheerleading friends are not the nicest girls, and they start bullying Lila's friend Jamie, who she kind of left behind a little bit because she got so involved with the cheerleading. But Lila knows that it's not right to bully. and she decides that she's going to take up for Jamie, and that causes an issue because no one disses the mean girls. So I'm interested to check this one out because it's a little more current because it has to also do with Facebook. Something else that has to do with social issues is a book by Jacqueline Woodson, and it's called Each Kindness, and this is also illustrated by E.B. Lewis. This happened to be the 2013 Coretta Scott King Award honor book. Each Kindness Makes the Whole World a Little Bit Better. So it also has to do with being a good friend and, you know, doing what is right, even though sometimes doing the right thing can be hard. The next one is by Eve Bunting. If you've watched my channel long enough, you know that I like Eve Bunting's books. And it's illustrated by David Diaz, and it's called Smoky Night. It says, Daniel and his mother look out of their window at the smoky night below. There are looters on the street, fires in the distance. Daniel clutches his cat Jasmine, but later when they're forced to leave their apartment building, Jasmine can't be found. Mrs. Kim's cat is missing too. Where are they? They can't be with each other. Those cats don't get along. Smoky Night is a story about cats and people who couldn't get along until a night of rioting brings them together. So I'm really excited to read this one. I love the art style. And again, I'm a fan of Eve Bunting. Now the next one is called Zen Shorts. This is by John J. Muth. Look how cute. And this one is also a Caldecott honor book from 2006. When Stillwater, a giant panda, moves into Addie, Michael, and Carl's neighborhood, he tells them the most amazing stories. He tells Addie the tale of a poor man who gives gifts to a robber. He tells Michael of a farmer who knows that luck can be neither judged nor predicted. And to Carl, he tells the tale of a monk who carries the weight of a burden long past. With vibrant watercolors and elegant ink drawings, John J. Muth and Stillwater the Bear imaginatively present three classic Zen stories that abound with enlightenment and love. I can't wait to read this one. I love the cover of this one as well. Next up, another favorite author of mine, Mercer Mayer. And this one is written and illustrated by Mercer Mayer, and it is called There Are Monsters Everywhere. Look how cute. Look how cute the monsters are. And then another one that I think would be perfect for the spooky season, this one as well as the one that is going to be after this one I'm going to show you. Actually, The Monsters in the Closet, There Are Monsters Everywhere might be a good one for the spooky season as well. More like a treat. Like if anybody participated in Halloween, there was the prompts of trick or treat. That would be a treat one. This one might be more of a trick one. The Ghost Eye Tree by Bill Martin Jr. and John Archambault, illustrated by Ted Rand. Look how spooky that is. I love it. I really like Bill Martin Jr. Anybody that knows him, he is the writer of Brown Bear. I remember buying that book for my son Barry when he was in pre-K. But you know what else is pretty cool about this book is that someone had it signed by the authors back in 1986 at Stone Creek School. Look at that. How awesome is that? It says, Alex, always remember it's only a foolie inside your head. Your friends, John Archambault and Bill Martin Jr., ghost by, get you. Isn't that cool? I love that. That's another thing about finding books that are used is that sometimes you have messages in the inside cover. And then the next one I thought was cute. I just love the cover. It is a Hubble Bubble book, and this one is A Book of Witches and Wizards by John Patience. Now, Hubble Bubble, I think, is a series of books because they have some in listed in the back. The Happy Ending series, excuse me. But it's a series of books designed to entertain and excite your children. They will be taken away to the land of fairy tales and will return safe and sound with a happy ending. But I just thought it was great. There's different little stories inside of here. This was actually discarded from Our Lady of Holy Cross College Library. So this might have been part of the collection for teachers taking a library science class. But look how awesome the artwork is. Really nice. But different little stories. The one with the witch on the vacuum cleaner is called The Witch Next Door. That one looks really interesting. All kinds of cute little pictures. There's one called Esmeralda, which is about a cat. And another one called Good Neighbors. This one, excellent for spooky season, I think. Then I have a couple that I could use for Folklore February. And the first one is called The Fairy Spotter's Handbook. I don't know what the first author's name is because it's covered up because it was in somebody's library. Okay, well, I can't see it, but it's somebody in Wayne Anderson. But I thought that would be cute for Folklore February. Then I have one called Dancing Drum, A Cherokee Legend. This is written and adapted by Terry Colleen and illustrated by Charles Reasoner. I have another Indian legend called The Boy Who Lived with the Seals. This is by Raffi Martin and David Shannon. And this is a Chinook Indian legend. So very excited about all my finds when it comes to folklore, legends, fairy tales and fairies, all that has to do with folklore. And then another one that would have been perfect for this month for the cryptid readathon is called Bigfoot is Missing. This is by J. Patrick Lewis and Ken Nesbitt, illustrated by Mina Lima. Some of you might know Mina Lima's artwork, but it's not just about Bigfoot. It's about cryptids in general. There's something about Loch Ness Monster in here, the Mongolian death worm. I think this is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to check this one out. And then last but not least, out of my picture books is one that I think is going to be fantastic. There's A Wolf at the Door, 5 Classic Tales, retold by Zoe B. Alley with pictures by R.W. Alley. Is that not amazing? I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And apparently it includes The Three Little Pigs, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, Little Red Riding Hood, The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, The Wolf and the 7 Little Goslings. So I'm very, very excited about all of the picture books that I found. The next group of books are some fantastic middle grade reads that I was very excited to get my hands on. And the first one is Scary Stories for Young Foxes by Christian McKay Heidicker. I love this cover. I've always been fascinated with the cover of this book and wanted to really figure out what it's all about. So I'm glad I found it in the children's room. 25 cents. Look at that, 25 cents. It's a short story collection. It's also a 2020 Newbery Honor Book. The haunted season has arrived in the Antler Wood. No fox kit is safe. 7 little foxes in the twisted antler wood, listening to stories much later than they should. So it's 7 short stories, and I'm so excited I got my hands on a copy of it. The next one is also a Newbery. It is called Rabbit Hill by Robert Lawson. I don't know where I got John from. There's not even a word on the cover with a J. This is a Newbery Award from 1945. It's a classic. The adventures of a rabbit family and their animal friends as they eagerly await the arrival of a new family to the house and garden on Rabbit Hill. And then the next one is by another favorite author of mine, Christopher Paul Curtis, and it is called Mr. Chickie's Funny Money. I just think that cover is great. Mr. Chickie, the genial blind man in the neighborhood, gives 9-year-old Stephen a mysterious bill with 15 zeros on it and a photo of a familiar but startling face. Could it be real? Well, Agent Fondue of the U.S. Treasury Department and his team of secret government agents are determined to get that money back. This is going to be funny. The next two books are by another favorite author of mine, which is E.L. Konigsberg. She wrote the Mixed Up Files, which I absolutely adore. And the first one is called Journey to an 800 Number. And then the other one is called Jennifer, Hecate, Macbeth, William McKinley, and Me, Elizabeth. What a title, right? This one's going to be a lot of fun too. Elizabeth is the loneliest only child in the whole US of A until she discovers Jennifer. Of course, Jennifer isn't a friend really. Witches don't make friends, and Jennifer is a witch. Elizabeth becomes her apprentice, however, and in the process of learning how to become a witch herself, she also learns how to eat raw eggs, how to cast short spells, and how to get along with Jennifer, among other things. Then the next book reminds me of Roald Dahl, but it's actually a story called Granny by Anthony Horowitz. I just think this cover is great. And even the back, that must be the granny. Joe Warden isn't happy. He has rich, uncaring parents, and he's virtually a prisoner in the huge family mansion called Thattleby Hall. But his real problem is his granny. Not only is she physically repulsive and unbelievably mean, but she seems to have some secret plan, and that plan involves him. I think this is going to be hilarious. Another one by Anthony Horowitz, but totally different. It's called Beasts and Monsters. It's under legends. So these are going to be stories about beasts and monsters. The Banshee, spitting fangs of the Gorgon, fiery breath of the dragon, and the razor sharp claws of the Sphinx. This will be perfect for Folklore February. And then I found another group of stories, a story collection called Leaping Beauty and Other Animal Fairy Tales by Gregory Maguire. He is the author of the Wicked trilogy. So I'm excited about this because this would also be wonderful for Folklore February. And then I found one that purely cover by. I like the cover, like the title. This is The Girl and the Witch's Garden by Erin Bowman. I just loved it. And I'm like, I want this. Mallory Estate is the last place 12-year-old Piper Peavy wants to spend her summer vacation. The grounds are always cold. The garden out back is dead. A mysterious group of children call the property home. And there's a rumor that Melina M. Mallory, the owner of the estate and Piper's wealthy grandmother, is a witch. And when Piper's father falls ill, Mallory Estate is exactly where Piper finds herself. Love the way that sounds. Another one, The Last Dragon by Silvana Di Mari. Again, I picked it up I liked the cover, I liked the title, I like dragons. In a world shrouded in darkness and continually lashed by rain, a young elf named Yorsh struggles to survive. When his village is destroyed by the torrential waters, Yorsh finds himself suddenly orphaned and alone, the Earth's last elf. But soon Yorsh discovers he's part of a powerful prophecy. And then last, but certainly not least, is Grayling's Song by Karen Cushman. I've heard of the author, but again, cover by, it just spoke to me. Grayling is tasked with the impossible to reverse an evil spell that has immobilized all the magic makers in the kingdom, including her own mother, wise woman Hannah Strong. First, Grayling is to gather the others, witches and magicians who escaped the spell, and then to find Hannah's grimoire, her book of spells and charms, and she will be on her own in the world for the very first time. So I like it. If you notice, I'm having a little theme here with witches and fairy tales and fantasy. So yeah, I happen to gravitate towards those kind of stories in middle grade, but also a lot of these will be great for Folklore February. The next 5 books are adult fiction, and y'all, I found 2 more Gunsmoke Westerns. And the first one is Lost Wolf River by Dwight Bennett. And the second one is Trouble on Crazy Man by Sam Allison. I love these little Gunsmoke Western books. I love all the cowboy language. They're just a lot of fun. And the next one is called The Swan Thieves by Elizabeth Kostova. I've read one book by her, which is called The Historian, which I really, really enjoyed. And this one is a haunting novel of art and obsession, a mystery spanning continents and centuries, a love story that crosses the ultimate border. So I'll have to give that one a try. The next one is what I would consider maybe a horror novel or a thriller. It is called The Weatherman by Steve Thayer. I picked this up strictly because of the cover. I think it's great. There's a man's face in the weather, but it's kind of intriguing. A serial killer is on the loose in Minnesota, snapping young women's necks with each change of the seasons. Within 24 hours of the first murder, TV weatherman Dixon Bell, a hulking eccentric, warns his viewers that a tornado is about to strike. The National Weather Service hasn't called it, but Dixon Bell does because he sees it coming in his mind. Dixon Bell is not the only eccentric on Channel 7's Sky High News. His alter ego is an investigative news producer named Rick Beanblossom, a Vietnam vet and Pulitzer Prize winner who hides his napalm face and his feelings behind a mask. And so Rick is supposed to track the serial killer and has something to do with the weather. So I also thought it was interesting that on the back of the book, there is a huge blurb by Stephen King praising the weatherman. So I'm like, why not? Let me check it out. Y'all know how much I like Stephen King, so I'm going to trust his judgment. Although he also put a blurb on The Store by Bentley Little, and that was definitely not my cup of tea. It was good. The story was good, but there were some parts in it that were a little questionable. Anyway, the next book is called The Greys. This is by Whitley Strieber. They're already here. So it has to do with aliens. I don't know, I'm pretty curious. I've heard of the name Whitley Strieber, but I've never read anything by this author. And also I discovered that my mom has 2 books by her in the pile that my dad recently brought me, but they look like they might be vampire books. So we shall see. And then the last group of books I have are all books that I'm going to use as giveaways. I like to host giveaways on my channel. Sometimes they're for readathons, sometimes they're just because, a way of saying thank you. And the first one is The Collected by K.R. Alexander. It is a horror middle grade novel. So I'll be putting that in a pile of giveaway books soon. And then I found a copy of Dawn of the Dreadfuls by Steve Hockensmith. This is part of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It actually is the prequel to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It was a lot of fun to read, so I picked this up to use as a giveaway for Zombie-thon. And then I found a copy of The Poe Shadow by Matthew Pearl. And this has to do with Edgar Allan Poe. And I host a week-long readathon around Edgar Allan Poe's birthday called Nevermore in January. So I picked this up and I thought this might be a nice giveaway for that readathon as well. So those are all of the books that I found at the Friends of the Library store. Well, friends, those are some new books that I am adding to my library. What do you think about the books that I've picked up? Have you read any of these? If so, let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you watching. And until our paths cross again, stay amazing and be adventurous.